Thank you. And now for this afternoon's reflection, please join me in welcoming Kaka Peters.
I appear before you, trying to find the right words to say, but they seem to evade me every single time. I can talk about how you've done nothing but hurt me, but I think it's fair to say we've both hurt each other. I can talk about how it's not you, it's me, but it really is you, and I'm doing this for me. I could talk about all the mascara that ended up 5 centimeters down my cheeks, streaming black sorrows and despair across my face for weeks, but I think you knew that already. You were there. As much as it pains me to say this, I think it's time we go our separate ways. Our relationship wasn't perfect. You tore me down every chance you got. You sacrificed me for people who weren't worth the time, who weren't worth our time. I know this won't be easy. But you can't say I didn't try, and if you say I didn't try, then that would be a lie, and if you try to lie, then I have to ask why, because I gripped. I was gripping as tightly as I could, digging my nails into my palms until I coated you with my blood, just to see if I left you with a mark of mine, you'd stay mine, but you were never me. You existed in the minds of others, so I tried to bring you to life like Pinocchio, placing string into your joints and breathing life into you, but that was impossible because you never existed. So I decided it's time for us to break up, and it's time for me to let go. It's time for me to let go of you, which might sound a little bit strange because you are me. At least who I used to be, but I need to break up with you so I can become who I need to be. Good afternoon, Mr. Kidd, Mrs. Beck, Mr. Postma, my father, my teachers, and my peers. Today, I want to talk about ending the longest relationship you've probably ever been in. I want to talk about breaking up with yourself, letting go of the past, and healing. I had always been severely indecisive. Growing up, it was little things, like choosing between ice cream flavors or which Winx Club fairy I would be for one day. Soon, however, those choices became more serious. Chocolate versus vanilla became IB Bio versus IB Physics. Aisha versus Bloom became choosing my university majors. It became choosing my future. It would be nice to say that I got through it all unscathed, that I had it all figured out because no matter what happens, it would all work out and there was nothing to worry about. Well, I think, and I'm sorry to all the guidance counselors out there, I think that's ridiculous. I still do, to be fair. You're choosing where you're going to go for the next 4 or more years. You're deciding. If you're going to spend the rest of your life in tears, you're deciding whether you end up attending every high school reunion and you realize that this was the height of it. Your peak, your max, high school was the pinnacle of your life. How could I go on knowing I would disappoint my parents, knowing I would disappoint my peers, knowing I would end up disappointing myself? I was collapsed by fear, collapsed by choices, collapsed by the idea that somehow this one little decision would propel me into a lifetime of regret and uncertainty. Wondering if at some point in my life I had missed my chance. Wondering if at some point in my life I had squandered my opportunities because I made the wrong decision. It stopped being my future. It started being my past, thinking about the moment my success window passed, thinking about how I should have listened more in physics class and maybe I'd be an engineer. How I should have played more sports or tried for more awards. You see, I was stuck in the past with nothing to move towards, and I didn't even need a time machine to do it. I wasn't an interstellar time traveler on some wicked adventure. I was a confused high schooler who wanted nothing more than to go back to a grade when the biggest decision was napping or talking about the latest Barbie episode with my blanket mate. I was trapped in the past, replaying every awkward conversation that led to weeks of isolation, every harrowing conflict that never reached a resolution, every insult that lay tucked in my little back pocket, following me around like luggage. But soon, the glaring summer sun dulled, and the green-hued leaves tinted a cool autumn brown. Time goes on, as it always does, but I did not move. I stayed stagnant. And stagnant I stayed, and stagnant I waited for someone else to make the decisions for me. Waiting for them like a rushing tide to move my still waters, so if anything happens, if anything goes wrong, I wouldn't have to blame myself. I wouldn't have to feel like I was the one that messed up because it wasn't my fault. I didn't make those decisions. Well, that's just nonsense. I just didn't want to take control. I just didn't feel confident enough to give myself the steering wheel, and I didn't feel confident enough because I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself because I didn't even know who I was. I was a stranger in my own body, sitting in the back seat while the persona I had created to fit the narrative I assumed people had of me took charge. A persona I built on the back of past hurts, past wounds, past scars, a persona who existed to protect me from the world, but in doing so, she protected the world from me. I had let her hold the wheels for so long that when the car that was my life finally crashed, I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize I was spiraling. I didn't realize I was suffering. I didn't even realize that there were wreckage and debris all around me because I refused to move. However, the pain eventually fades, and all that's there is the memory. The kind of memory Advil and Tylenol don't take away. The kind of memory that lays dormant, waiting for when you're at your weakest and when you're at your lowest. And it was at one of those low moments that I realized that life only moves forward. We can't go back in time and revoke what happened. We lay awake thinking about it, more disappointed than before. I was tired of being controlled by a phantom of what once was. I was tired of the aches and pains that came with battling this phantom. I was tired of holding on. So I decided to let go. It was the first choice I had made for myself that actually mattered. It wasn't a particularly special day. I didn't ask for advice. I didn't flip a coin. You see, I made the decision to start making my own decisions. I made the decision to heal from all the pain. I had to let go of that stuff from the past because it just didn't matter. The only thing that truly mattered was who I chose to be now. I let go of my indecisiveness. I let go of my fear rooted in my past mistakes. I let go of her, of me, or at least the idealization of me you see I presented as fearless. Meanwhile, I still sleep with a nightlight and have 5 stuffies stuffed comfortably in the corner of my bed. I presented like I had it all figured out when I really didn't. I could no longer fake it till I made it, because in reality, fake me was killing the real me. It was murder in the 2nd degree. She was weighing me down. She was sapping my energy. If anything, she was more like a parasite, and it was time to let go. So I ended our relationship. I broke up with her because she was no longer a goal, but a delusion. The delusion I had left in the wreckage of the car crash that was my past life. As humans, We spend so much time living and studying the past that our brains might as well be archaeologists. And in the archives of our mind, we hold on to every embarrassment, every shameful encounter, every mistake. We have a desire to hold on to the memories and scars of the past because they reinforce our walls. They protect us. They allow us to hold on to what is comfortable, to grip as tightly as we can because we think it shows strength. We think it shows dedication, and somehow we think it shows resilience. But I believe that sometimes the best kind of strength is knowing when to let go. Knowing when to tell yourself that enough is enough. Knowing when to acknowledge that we have made the past a place of projection instead of a place of reflection. I let past fears and past mistakes hold me back from future opportunities, and I do not want that for you. I want you to let go. To let go of the idealizations that hold you back, to let go of the fear, the anxiety, the indecision. And I know, coming from me standing up here, I know letting go isn't easy. You see, it's not just releasing your grip, it's succumbing to the unknown. It's finally taking control. It's telling yourself that you are ready to evolve and grow. It takes courage to let go of the past, to acknowledge the faults within ourselves and acknowledge that we have been living on autopilot for a very long time. You see, you need to embrace the person you are becoming. You need to embrace the change that rides on the back of a new season. You see, you only start living when you start living for yourself. When you live because you want to, not because you have to. When you let the past be the past, you no longer ask for validation wrapped in the lyrics of the voices of another. You no longer seek to cure your loneliness with the penicillin of another's company. You will no longer hold on to the noose that is the past expectations of the world because you need to let go of the you who once did that. It's time for you to let go of you. I appear before you, having found the right words to say. To my past self, you were my longest running season. But now it must come to a close, dear friend. No more spin-offs, no more reruns, no more reboots. It's the end. So, to all of you, if you love something, and I mean if you truly love something, you set it free. And because I want you to truly love you, I need you to decide to just be. Oh, the places we'll go. We're on our own. And we'll decide where to go. Because today, and only today, we chose to let go. Thank you.